Imagine you're standing outside. You feel the air change, you smell the earth, you hear that first perfect heavy drop hit the ground. But it doesn't land. It vanishes before it touches you. And then you notice the silence. It's not that the rain stopped falling, it's that the rain never comes again. The clouds don't form, the wind doesn't carry moisture, the sky just gives up. What happens to the world when the water cycle breaks permanently? No rain, no snow, no dew, no mist. Let's follow the chain reaction. Rain is the engine of life. Sunlight evaporates water from oceans and lakes. That vapor rises, cools, condenses into clouds, and falls back down. Rinse and repeat. It's a perfect machine. But without that condensation, without the clouds forming, the machine seizes up. Without evaporation, the ocean stops breathing. No moisture rises. No clouds drift inland. The entire global water cycle, the thing that has run continuously for billions of years, grinds to a halt. The first week, you don't panic. You use the water you have. You water your garden, you conserve. But the soil is already beginning to give up its moisture to the dry air, and nothing is coming back to replace it. Reservoirs that took decades to fill, gone in months. Not because we used too much, because the rivers that fed them simply stopped flowing.
Agriculture is the first domino. Wheat, corn, rice, they need water. Without rain, irrigation runs dry. Within one growing season, the breadbasket of the world becomes a dust bowl. Without plant roots to hold the soil, the earth turns to powder. The wind picks it up and throws it back at us. Mile-high walls of suffocating dust that blot out the sun. Livestock perish without feed and water. The cost of meat and dairy skyrockets until it simply isn't available anymore. Protein becomes a luxury of the past. It takes 1,800 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef, 100 gallons for 1 pound of bread. Without rain, a single meal becomes a logistical miracle, and a miracle we can't sustain. People move. They have to. They leave their farms, their cities, their countries, searching for water that no longer exists in the places they once called home. Major rivers, the arteries of continents, run dry. The Colorado, the Nile, the Ganges, they don't just shrink, they vanish. The sediment at the bottom turns to concrete. It happens in your home first. The tap sputters, the pressure drops, and then one morning you turn it on and you get dust. Your city's water supply has officially collapsed. Hydroelectric power, the source of 15% of the world's electricity, dies with the rivers. Cities go dark, not from a grid failure, but from a lack of falling water. Cities don't burn, they don't flood, they just go quiet. Without water, there's no cooling for data centers, no steam for power plants, no sanitation. The concrete jungle becomes a concrete tomb. Forests are the planet's lungs. They pull carbon from the air and release oxygen. But without water, they don't breathe. They die. And when they die, they release all that stored carbon back into the atmosphere. The oceans warm without cloud cover. Coral reefs bleach and die. The base of the marine food chain collapses. The ocean becomes a warm, stagnant desert. They gather at the last known sources of water. They wait. They hope. But the water never comes, and the bones remain. The sky changes. Without moisture to wash away dust, the atmosphere becomes a permanent haze. Sunlight dims, but heat stays trapped. A runaway greenhouse effect kicks in. We drill deeper. We pump harder. But groundwater is fossil water. It took thousands of years to accumulate. We drain it in months, and then it's gone. If all the water on Earth, oceans, ice, rivers, air, were put in a 5-gallon bucket, the fresh water we can actually use would fit in a single teaspoon. Without rain to refill that teaspoon, we are quite literally running on empty. We go back to the beginning, that first drop that vanished in your palm. The sky never gave it back. The clouds never returned. The seed is still there, the potential for life. But without water, it's just a tiny brown speck, a promise the world can no longer keep. Rain is just water falling from the sky, but it's also the rhythm of our planet, the heartbeat of everything green, everything alive. So here's the real question. If the rain stopped forever, what would you trade for just one more drop? Thanks for watching. If this one made you think, hit subscribe. We're asking the big questions so you don't have to. See you in the next one.